Ann Jeffries as Marion Kirby, the ghostess with the mostest. Robert Sterling as George Kirby, that most sporty spirit. And Leo G. Carroll, host to said ghosts, as Topper.
One of these days you're going to succeed in getting me fired.
Oh, that would be wonderful. Then you wouldn't have to go to that tiresome old office anymore.
Yes, and I wouldn't have any of that tiresome old money either to pay for gin and broken windows.
Oh, with your millions, who needs money?
My millions?
That's right, Topper, old boy, and here's the first installment. I was practicing chip shots out in the backyard, and I found this.
George, how many times do I have to ask you to replace your divots?
But this isn't a divot. Look at it closely. What is it?
A dirty rock?
I'll say it's dirty. It's filthy. Filthy rich with uranium. And there's a whole pile of them in the backyard, just like that.
Oh, now, George, calm down. I don't know what makes you think that this rock contains uranium.
You don't know. Well, Topper, old pal, can it be possible that you are unaware that your modest friend, George Kirby, is the only man, dead or alive, with a built-in Geiger counter?
Whenever George gets close to uranium, his teeth click and his nose lights up.
I'll get that.
Good morning, sir. My name is York, Harry York, but you can call me Mr. Opportunity.
Oh, well, it's very nice meeting you, Mr. Opportunity, but it so happens that I'm just leaving for my bank. As soon as I've changed clothes.
Ah, but a thinking man such as yourself must be interested in uranium exploration. Now, I happen to have here a scintillator, which is absolutely the greatest detector of radioactivity you ever saw.
Uranium?
Radioactivity. This is our boy.
Yes, but I'm a banker, not a prospector, Mr. Opportunity.
Just a quick demonstration.
No. Stop quibbling, Topper. We've got a chunk of uranium. Let's see if his gadget works.
Bring him in the living room, George.
Walk this way, please. No use fighting an old boy. It's bigger than both of us.
What happened to me? How'd I get in here?
Oh, it's very simple. You were carried away by your sales talk.
Oh. Yeah.
Please get on with it.
Well, this scintillator, it can do anything.
You talk too much. Let me have that gadget.
How did you do that?
It's not me, it's the machine. You said it can do anything.
Yeah, it can, can't it? Well, to start this machine, you just turn this little gimmick right here. Why, there's uranium. Right here in this room. This rock must be almost solid uranium.
Well, what'd I tell you, Topper?
I still don't believe it.
Well, you don't have to take my word for it, but you've got to believe this machine. If this machine says that's uranium, that's what it is. Now, as to the price of this scintillator.
We're not buying. George, get rid of it.
Let go! Hey, cut it out! Go with me! Hey, cut it out!
Well, Toppy, aren't you going to say something nice about George now?
I suppose I should. How did the idiot do it?
How did you make out?
Oh, the guy's a mark, all right, Burton. But what a squirrel cage that is. Would you believe me if I told... No.
Look, I don't know what you're mumbling about. What'd you find out about this sucker?
His name is Cosmo Topper. He works in the bank. And from the looks of his house, he's no teller.
Did you take him out in his backyard and show him the uranium?
I didn't have to. He had a chunk of it in the house already.
That's what I like. A mark who meets me halfway. I think it's time I met Mr. Topper.
George, Marion, aren't you two ever going to stop talking about that foolish rock? I have work to do. You two are insane. That stupid animal is drunk.
All we have to do is find out where this little piece of rock came from, and just like that, you'll be a millionaire.
Isn't he wonderful, Toppy?
Living doll, I believe, is the term. Yes? Oh, send him in, please. Now, look, you two, I'm going to be busy. Why don't you two run along and take that stupid animal with you? Come in.
Burton is the name, Mr. Topper. Tom Burton.
Oh, yes. My girl told me. Won't you sit down? What can the bank do for you, Mr. Burton?
Well, I'm afraid this is a personal matter. Did you happen to notice some rocks out in your backyard this morning?
Rocks? Rocks? Watch it, Topper. This guy may know something.
Well, now that you mentioned it,
Well, I'm glad you're not all excited about it. I wasn't sure but what you might be sore, me spilling all those rocks through your back hedge. I blew a tire on my trailer just as I was passing your place this morning.
We didn't know they're full of uranium.
well, I guess there was no particular damage, Mr. Burton.
Attaboy, Topper. That's playing it cagey.
Well, I'm building a rock garden on my place here in town, and, say, isn't that one of my rocks?
What? I found it in my garden this morning. Thought I'd use it for a paperweight.
It's funny how heavy these rocks are.
Uh-oh, he knows.
I've got 60 acres with nothing on it but these rocks. Can't get a plow in there.
He doesn't know.
It's too bad you can't use 60 acres of paperweights, Mr. Topper. I'd make you a good deal. Meanwhile, I'll come by late this afternoon and clean that mess off your property.
All right.
And thanks for being so decent about it.
Not at all.
We're rich. We're rich.
Stop. The gentleman who just left here said that this rock came from his place. That he has 60 acres so full of these rocks that he can't even farm it. And he wants to sell the whole thing to you for paperweights.
George, I can't use that many paperweights.
Oh, but Toppy, they make such lovely Christmas presents.
Please, Marion, let me handle this. The point is that Mr. Burton obviously doesn't know that his 60-acre rock pile is practically solid uranium, and that he'd be very happy to unload the whole thing on you.
George, stop it. Let me go. That's Mr. Schuyler. I know his buzz.
Well, let him buzz. What are you, a man or a bee? We've got to settle this thing.
It's all settled, George. I'm not going to buy Mr. Burton's farm. Yes, sir?
Just checking to see if you're in, Topper. Mr. Marston's here with me now. I'm bringing him right into your office.
Marion, can't you get him out of here? Take him shopping, anything.
Why, Toppy, darling, what a dreamy idea. Come on, George.
Oh, Topper.
You're Mr. Marston, aren't you?
Yes. How do you do?
I'm delighted to make your acquaintance.
Here's your paperweight, sucker.
Come on, George.
What's going on here? What is that?
This is... it's a rock.
Who threw it?
No one threw it. Just a friend of mine practicing his tennis service.
With a rock?
Strengthens the wrist.
Topper, what's the matter with you? What tennis service? There was nobody at that door.
Quite. A new play. Secret Service.
Topper, Mr. Marston is here on business. Now, if that's clear, I'll leave you alone with him. Rock's tennis service.
Sit down, Mr. Marston.
Yes.
Playing tennis with a rock. Secret Service. Connect me with Mr. Topper. Topper, this is Schuyler, but pretend that I'm your wife.
My wife? Oh, Henrietta, dear. Of course. It's Henrietta, my wife. I must say, dear, your voice sounds very heavy. You sure you're not coming down with a cold?
You don't have to ham it up, Topper. I just want to tell you about this man, Marston. He made a killing in the uranium field. He wants to invest his money in some conservative bonds. And Topper, I was just thinking, we might unload some of those consolidated plumbing bonds.
Well, haven't you any conscience? Why, that stuff is practically worthless. Darling. Wonderful girl, my wife. Oh, well, you're the boss, sweetheart. Yes, darling.
Yes?
That's all right. Oh,
Yes, my lad.
Oh, Mr. Topper's on the phone.
that's all right. I'm Mrs. Topper.
Yes, darling.
Mr. Topper's wife?
I'm certainly not his mother.
Henrietta?
Yes, that's right. He told her my name. How nice. And you're...
Marston. F.K. Marston.
I'm very glad to know you, Mr. Marston.
Anything you say, lover. Yes, darling. Yes, my love.
Isn't banking the friendliest business, Mr. Marston?
Yes, I guess it is.
Hello, Cosmo, dear.
Oh, you'll have to excuse me now, Henrietta. Henrietta's here.
Yes, I know.
It's uranium ore, all right. There's no question about it.
And you say Topper had it?
Yes, said he found it in his backyard this morning.
And he doesn't know what it is?
Oh, would he be using uranium as a paperweight?
No.
You know, Mr. Schuyler, when I came here, I thought that I was through wildcatting uranium strikes. But this is too good to pass up. I want to buy Topper's house and lot, his whole neighborhood. Can you handle the deal for me?
Well, on one condition, that we're partners.
Now, remember, we don't want to cheat Mr. Topper. We'll offer him a good price.
Well, a fair price.
I wonder how much he paid for that property.
Well, we couldn't expect him to take a loss. Not a large one, anyway.
Topper, darling, you beat us home.
George? Marion? What have you done now? What has he bought?
What? He had it built. And you ought to see this kid in the fur shop. She got a blue mink, a silver mink, a gold mink, a ranch mink, and a mink. And the store was closed, too.
But we made out a sales slip for everything we took and stamped it with Henrietta's church plate.
It's got out to be bankrupt.
It's Henrietta.
Oh, Cosmo, would you pay the cab driver for me like a dear?
Oh, certainly, dear. Well, I thought you took your car.
I did, but I just happened to run into his cab and he drove me home so you could pay for the fender.
And what happened to your car?
The last time I saw the poor thing, it was just sitting there with one wheel bent all like this and only one headlight.
Well, I got off easily that time. Under $70. You know, my dear, we'd be ahead.
Cosmo Topper.
What?
You're the most wonderful, the most unpredictable husband in the whole world. I was worrying all the way home, afraid that you'd scold me for having had that accident. And now look at this beautiful surprise.
Yes, well, my dear, you see, it's not really for you. It's for Mr. Schuyler.
Oh, now stop joshing me, Cosmo. You know Mr. Schuyler doesn't wear mink stoles. And what are all these?
What?
Oh, Cosmo. Oh, aren't you wicked?
I'll probably be burned as a witch if I'm lucky.
Topper, Henrietta, Mr. Marston and I were just passing, and we thought we'd drop in for a visit.
You're not leaving, are you, Mrs. Topper? I was hoping to see more of you.
Oh, no, I'm not going out. Mr. Topper just gave me this stole, and I was trying it on. Isn't it divine?
Yes, dear. Perhaps you gentlemen would like to go into the living room.
Yes, thank you.
George, do something. Henrietta's taking all my lovely things upstairs.
Forget that now. We've got to help Topper. These two characters are hatching a plot. And if I know Schuyler, that's bad news for Topper. Hey, Topper.
What do you want?
Now hold still while I talk.
These guys came here to rob you, Topper. I know.
And when George says he knows, Topper, you know he knows. He knows.
Will you two stop talking nonsense and get out of here?
Topper, did I hear you correctly?
Of course you didn't, Mr. Schuyler. I was just telling you that I was going to offer Mr. Topper $25,000 in cash for this house. That is, if Mr. Topper wants to sell.
25,000? I wouldn't take 50,000.
I understand, and I'm willing to meet your price. Would you consider 60?
And not 1 cent more.
Well, I'm sorry, gentlemen. I don't understand the humor of this situation, but...
You drive a hard bargain, Mr. Topper, but I know what I want. I'm going to write you out a check for $100,000. That's my top bid. You don't have to give me your answer now. Sleep on it. Talk it over with Mrs. Topper. You can let me know through Mr. Schuyler tomorrow.
Excuse me, gentlemen. I'll get that.
You don't escape me that easily. Oh, no. Here you are. $100,000.
Oh, Cosmo, I'm sorry to interrupt, but Mr. Burton here says you're expecting him. Something about some rocks out in the yard.
Oh, yes.
Heavy rocks? With a black streak through them?
That's right. You must have seen him, too. Burton is my name.
How do you do?
I blew a tire on my trailer this morning and spilt them onto Mr. Topper's lot. I'd better get them off his lawn before he starts charging me rent.
You were hauling the rocks?
Yeah, from my farm.
I'd like to look at those rocks, if I may.
Be our guest.
Meanwhile, I'll just hold on to this. Naturally, I can't pay too much for your farm, but if you're interested in selling...
How about 25,000?
That cash money? Well, gentlemen, you just bought yourself a load of rocks.
Good, good. We'll go down to the bank and close the deal right away. I'll join you gentlemen out in the car in just a minute. Now that we've made a deal, Topper, I'll let you in on a little secret. Mr. Marston and I have just acquired 60 acres of uranium for $25,000, and you didn't know a thing about it. That's the difference between us, Topper. I get things done, while you're still wondering what's happening.
Well, for a finish, we put it over. It's a good thing we didn't have to deal with that Topper. He's an honest man. But those other guys, Schuyler and Marston, man, have they got larceny. Your cut.
Thank you very much. You mean this is all the money you got for that broken down old farm?
Yeah. Any complaints? Hey, keep your hands off me.
What are you talking about? I'm not touching you.
Keep your mitts out of my pocket or I'll powder you.
Look, big shot. 2 hands, that's all I've got.
Stop! You're choking me.
You weren't holding out on me, huh?
Well,
Why, you dirty double-crosser, I'll teach you a lesson. You won't forget the last time. Too bad. Cross me up, will you?
Come back here, you dirty rotten thief!
I'm here. But who's driving that car?
And who's the thief, you
Look out there, Cap.
Topper, you're a fraud.
I am?
You are. I see it all now. You introduced us to that man Burton. You had a part in this swindle.
We've been over every foot of Burton's farm with this counter. Not a trace of uranium.
Well, I'm sorry, I don't know what I can do about it.
Topper, why don't you buy the farm for what we paid for it? There might be oil on it.
Well, where would I get $25,000? I can't make it rain money just by doing a dance like an Indian medicine man.
Oh, yes, you can, Papa, darling. Just watch how George does it.
Nothing to it, Topper, old man. I just got the money back from the other crooks.
You did make it rain. And inside the house, that's making it rain the hard way.
Hey, Doc, let's get a dance here, honey. Don't go. It won't rain no more.
Come on, Topper, get in the groove, man. Think like a real crazy Indian, man.
Produced by John W. Lufton. A John W. Lufton, Bernard L. Schubert production. Starring Ann Jeffries, Robert Sterling, and Leo G. Carroll.